Live from clickorlando.com, News 6 Plus, and WKMG. We're getting results in your neighborhood now at 6:30 p.m.
Right now at 6:30, Floridians scrambling to protect their property from a fast-moving storm in the Gulf. It is threatening to slam into the state later this week as a major hurricane. As soon as Thursday, parts of Florida could start feeling the impacts from Helene. Good evening. This is News 6 at 6:30, getting results. Thank you for joining us here live on News 6 Plus. I'm Ginger Gadsden.
And I'm Matt Austin in for Justin. Well, tonight, almost the entire state is under a state of emergency ahead of the storm, including every single county in Central Florida. Let's get you over to meteorologist Jonathan Kegas, who is tracking this thing, which could become a beast.
Yeah, it could, and it likely will once it gets closer to the Big Bend. So this one's expected to strengthen pretty quick as it moves into the Gulf of Mexico over the next few days. The core of this system likely headed towards the Big Bend. We're going to get kind of the outer sides of this thing. This is going to be a very large storm. All of the weather, if you will, is hanging on the eastern side, which puts it all right over the Florida Peninsula. So that's why it's not going to be the most pleasant afternoon, to say it lightly, on Thursday. 50-mile-per-hour storm right now. And this is what I'm talking about right here. This orange kind of donut, half donut on the eastern side of the storm, that is the tropical storm wind field right now that the hurricane hunters are sampling as they fly their missions through the storm. That is going to be projected again if you see the center line. And again, the center can be anywhere inside of this cone or on the outer edge. So the more it's on the eastern side, the more impacts get extended into Central Florida. I wanted to show you that by kind of overlaying the watches and warnings that are in play right now, and everybody in this rust shaded color. I know there's a lot of colors on your screen right now, but that means, again, most of the Florida Peninsula going to see some type of impact, even though the worst of the worst is going to be hanging tight to the Big Bend. Right now, though, most of Central Florida under a tropical storm warning. Flagler, Volusia, Brevard were also added to a tropical storm watch, meaning, again, we're waiting to see if it wobbles any, because if it wobbles a little closer to the east, that'll put more tropical storm conditions closer to the I-95 corridor and the Atlantic coast, and a hurricane watch remains in play, that orange color for western Marion. Again, waiting to see if it wobbles a little bit to the east. That would put more hurricane conditions closer to Ocala. We're going to talk much more about the potential impacts coming down the pipeline for Wednesday night into Thursday coming up in a few minutes, guys.
All right, see you in a few, Jonathan. Thank you. Some Central Florida school districts have already called off classes ahead of this storm. We got word just after noon today, Sumter District schools will be closed on Thursday and Friday.
In Lake County, school leaders made the call today to cancel classes on Thursday. They say after a midday briefing tomorrow, they will come up with a plan for schools on Friday.
And Polk County schools will also be closed on Thursday and Friday. Volusia School says after-school activities are canceled tomorrow and school will be closed on Thursday.
And Seminole County Public Schools says it will be closed on Thursday, but it expects to be open on Friday.
And Orange County Public Schools say it will be closed on Thursday, and all after-school activities must end by 6 p.m. tomorrow.
Marion County Public Schools says it will be closed on Thursday because of the storm as well. News 6's Treasure Roberts is live in Marion County tonight at one of the many Sandbag locations there. Treasure?
Yeah, Ed Grosky Recreational Center is just one of 8 in the county. Officials have laid it out for you, made it plain. There are directions here, and they're telling you you can only get 10, and the tools are all here. They have the big piles of sand, of course, the shovels for you when you need to dig, and then they have the bags. So how it works is you take one of these bags and you open it up and put it down here underneath this cone, which is cut out at the bottom. It's better if you have somebody to help you, but if not, you're supposed to put it here like that and then ultimately take the shovel and put the sand right through. Now, if you don't have somebody to help, that happens, unfortunately. So if you do have somebody that can help you, have them hold the bag up. We did talk to Gary. He lives in Marion County. He says he's been here his whole life, and he came out here. We helped him get 10 bags. He is trying to protect his property. He doesn't want any water to go into his garage. So he says that's why he came here, and he has advice for people who may have just moved to Florida and have never experienced a hurricane.
Be prepared, follow the, follow the instruction that the, that the people give, just follow their instruction. They normally, be on top of it. Of course, the weather. Keep looking at the news, Channel 6.
I would say that's great advice. If you all cannot come to this specific location, like I said, there are 8 locations, and you can find all of those on our website at clickorlando.com. In Marion County, Treasurer Roberts, getting results, News 6.
That's the best advice you can give anybody. Just keep tabs,
sure.
watch News 6. You'll be good to go. Treasurer Roberts at the sandbagging location. Thank you.
Right now, over on clickorlando.com, you can find all the Sandbag locations in Marion County and in each and every county. Be sure to also take note of the hours. We made this easy to find by putting it right there on the homepage for you. And once you get your sandbags, do you know how to use them to keep that water out of your house?
Yeah, experts at Lowe's Home Improvement say there is some technique to it. They say they should be stacked, kind of like bricks. So the bags used on the first layer should be lengthwise, parallel to the direction of the water flow. For the second layer and third layer, you should stagger the bags on top of the previous bags. Again, think of it like you're laying bricks. If you need to go higher than 3 levels though, build it in a pyramid shape. That'll help it to be able to stay up.
That's really good information, because I thought you just put it single file and that's not going to do anything. I'm not in charge.
You would have been flooded.
Yeah, I'm not in charge
for sure.
of any
So
of that,
fortunately, just lay it like bricks. 3 levels up, you should be good to go.
I'm not a bricklayer, so.
You are not. We'll work on it. All right, one of the first things to happen every time a hurricane or other strong storm hits, surveying the damage. That can be really hard to do on the ground, especially if neighborhoods are flooded or the trees fall down.
Yeah, and that could lead to people in those areas being stuck without power for a very long time. But as News 6's Ezzy Castro shows us, one company is looking to the sky to solve that problem.
There are millions of ways to do this.
OUC research engineers giving News 6 a first look at their new drone program. It comes as thousands are getting ready to prepare for another major storm heading towards Florida.
But over the last few years, we haven't had storms as bad as Hurricane Ian. That one sat on Orlando, it flooded, it took down trees like it was nobody's business.
McGuire Mulligan says this is an opportunity for the OUC team to get results in the aftermath of a hurricane. He says one of the first steps to restoring power is surveying the impact to downed power lines.
The real thing we're looking for is situational intelligence. As we get to that tree or as we get to that flooded road, the issue is no longer how do we get to that problem, it's what is that problem.
So you're probably wondering, why are they using these white buckets? Well, OUC says that this will help their pilots navigate the drone effectively, and this will definitely help when they're out looking for damage.
Mulligan says it's not as easy as it looks. Drone pilots also have to be on the lookout for wildlife too.
If I'm flying drones over that nest nearby, it's really only going to be an issue if my pilots are going out of their way to make it an issue. I've flown near dozens of birds' nests and I've had next to no issues. And, as long as we keep that safe distance away, we're really not putting those species at risk.
In Orange County, Ezzy Castro, getting results, News 6.
That's great technology, and I'm glad that they're also environmentally aware of what they could have happened.
Yeah, watch out for the birds. But it could really come into handy if they can know where to put their resources
For sure.
before having to drive everybody in and cut trees down and get,
I think it keeps people safer too, because you go into areas where down power lines sometimes have some power going to them, and you put yourself in a little bit of danger.
Yeah, make sure you have our free Pinpoint Hurricane Tracker app. Our team of meteorologists will constantly update any storm's projected path. Just search WKMG in your app store. The general election is November 5th, a little more than a month away now, and we're making sure you are ready for this thing. Our voter registration phone bank has been going on for a little more than 13 hours, a baker's dozen so far.
Oh my gosh, yeah, all day today. You can call in to learn how to register and get some of your questions answered. There are no stupid questions, really. News 6's Laverne McGee joins us live from just down the hall in Studio B. And Laverne, I see that the people behind you, those volunteers, are on the phone, and that is a good sign.
It's a great sign, and I gotta say, we've been here all day. I gotta thank all of these guys here. They've done such a great job today. You got only like 20 minutes left to give them a call, 888-436-6665, to answer your questions about voting. And I'm so happy that we're also joined by Tim Bobanek, who is, of course, the Brevard County Supervisor of Elections. Tell us what people need to know as we kind of wrap things up today. We've had this great phone bank.
So the most important thing to remember is October 7th is the deadline to register to vote if you want to participate in this upcoming election. And all elections are decided by those who participate. So, if you don't participate, then you're not going to get that chance to say, who is representing me in the, Tallahassee and Washington, D.C. and your local races here. So, get out there and make sure you're registered to vote.
What happens if you're not sure? Like, am I registered? Am I not? Like, how do you even know if you're not sure?
So every supervisor of elections office in the state of Florida has a way to check that. If you go to your website, ours is votebrevard.gov, and you can check on my registration status, and it'll enter information in, and it will tell you right away whether you're registered to vote, and most importantly, where you vote on election day.
Well, thank you, Tim, and thanks to all the supervisor of elections and all the volunteers. They've been doing an incredible job. You just got a few more minutes left to give them a call, 1-888-436-6665. Back to you guys.
I love that they're so busy, Laverne. You can't even thank them.
They're busy.
They're on the phone.
Yeah, that's wonderful work. Thank you, Laverne. We'll thank her. All right, so we'll be doing this voter registration phone bank until 7 o'clock, so you still have about 19 minutes or so. Again, the phone number is right there on your screen. It's 888-436-6665. They'd love to hear from you and answer your question. Well, 13 out of every 100 men in the U.S. will be diagnosed with prostate cancer at some point.
And one News 6 investigator is a part of that 13. Coming up, he speaks to a doctor working to get results for more than 18,000 men with prostate cancer. But first,
we have the latest on Helene, a 50-mile-per-hour tropical storm expected to become a hurricane tomorrow and then intensify into a major hurricane. We're going to talk about what that means for us in Central Florida in a few minutes.
Plus, a look at what is trending on clickorlando.com right now.
then later, how toilet seats are protecting boaters off the coast of Florida. Classy. That's how we do toilet seats. You're watching News 6 at 6:30. Live for you on News 6 Plus. We're getting results in Sanford, Lake Nona, and all of Central Florida, and we'll be right back.
Brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Toyota, let's go places.
Here's a live look over Daytona Beach from our Daytona Toyota DeLand Kia camera. Could it look any better off that coast? The answer is no, and that could change though. Not really off that coast, but if we went off the other coast and then added maybe 48 hours, it's gonna look a lot different. That was a lot of ifs that I threw in there. Jonathan Kagas joining us now. So, yeah, looks great off the coast right now.
Yeah, that was just a beautiful picture we saw.
Yeah, those ifs are going to come into fruition, though. So, I mean, there you go. That's the forecast anyway. We will see the clouds roll into Daytona Beach. So the gray skies are going to be coming in, although the impact's not going to be as high, certainly, as what we will see on the Gulf Coast. Again, here is the satellite composite of Helene. This is the infrared satellite. So the brighter the colors here, where you're seeing the whites and the reds, that's the more intense thunderstorms associated with it. The center of the system kind of hiding under here. It looks like it may have even broken away over the last hour, which is not good news for the storm because those two, the mid-level center, which is the thunderstorms back here, they need to be co-located. Certainly better news for us. So we'll see if it tries to get its act together over the next couple of hours, but it's kind of spiraling towards the Yucatan right now anyway. Right now it's a 50-mile-per-hour storm. So what does that mean for us? Here's the high-resolution future radar and how this thing could play out over the next couple of days. Worst of the weather really comes on Thursday. We start to get some of the appetizer of the storm here with scattered thunderstorms through the I-4 corridor coming through the Space Coast as well with these few feeder bands. Then once we get to Thursday, there's some scattered showers, mainly on the lighter side, a few heavier thunderstorms embedded, but you see it right there. The meat and potatoes of the thing still way out over the Gulf of Mexico and on the Gulf Coast of Florida. All of that, though, starts to spiral in, especially as we get towards the afternoon on Thursday. So there you go at 3 to 5 o'clock with these scattered thunderstorms. Now, I think the biggest issue for Central Florida is watching for the severe weather threat. Certainly a flood threat's going to be there, but not expecting this storm to be around for a long time. So that's good news. It's moving. It's not going to stall out. It's going to be the severe weather threat. So you see all these little red kidney bean-shaped things. When they're isolated like that, we're on the dirty side of the storm. Wind shear is maximized. We're going to have to watch for those tropical tornadoes as we typically do, being on the northeast side of the storm. By 6 o'clock, the worst of it is over. Still doing some dodging, but we're not talking about any kind of tropical storm force winds. I wanted to show you this graphic. This is the supercell potential. So what we're looking at here, and you'll start to see some colors pop up on the map. There we go as we move through Thursday afternoon. All of these different tracks are scientifically we call them helicity, but it's the rotating track potential. So again, if you see these pop up on your screen, that's where we're going to have the potential for some of those storms to rotate, and that really fills in again through Thursday afternoon and into the evening. So that's, I think, our main threat with this. We will see tropical storm force wind gusts through most of Central Florida as well during the afternoon and evening on Thursday. In terms of rainfall, I don't think it's a ton. Certainly, we're going to see the highest rainfall potential through the I-75 corridor. I think it's a little underdone through the villages. This is the computer forecast, but maybe 4 or 5 inches of rain closer to I-75. But 1 to 3 inches really elsewhere from I-4 and points to the east should not aggravate flooding too much, but when you get under some of these training thunderstorms or these bands, if you will, from the storm itself, could aggravate things a little bit. Certainly for us along the St. Johns, we're watching this closely. Right now, we're already into moderate flood stage. We're expected to stay there through the weekend. Then you see by Saturday, 2 p.m., we dip back into minor flood stage. So watching this closely. The thing with this is, we're not getting the rain with Ian, of course. What I'm going to say about Ian is we had those winds coming out of the north and east pushing back on the St. Johns. We're not going to have that either. So while we do have a little bit more rain going into the St. Johns, we don't have the wind fighting it, draining out. So at least there's some positives with that. So we're watching that closely, though, as we're, again, already in moderate flood stage. Here's a live look outside now. Another gorgeous shot from the port. Live look with our Launch Credit Union camera. Now here's a look at your pinpoint. Accurate forecast.
Your forecast is sponsored by Florida Lottery.
All right, so 60-70% of tomorrow is going to be on the drier side. Then we start to increase those storm chances late into the afternoon, early evening. We're under those tropical storm conditions on Thursday. Temperatures a little cooler, still going to be humid because we have a tropical air mass in play. 90% shot for showers and thunderstorms, as you would expect from a landfalling hurricane, again, into the Gulf Coast. 80% shot for storms on Friday, and then we'll dial that back a little bit, getting into the second half of the weekend, guys.
Jonathan, thank you. Well, chances are you know someone who's been diagnosed with prostate cancer. It can be a deadly diagnosis if it's not caught in time.
News 6 investigator Eric Sandoval was diagnosed with the disease earlier this year. During his cancer journey, he found out doctors are seeing more and more younger men with prostate cancer, and they want more men to be screened.
So I just found out that I have prostate cancer. I'm a little shocked, but not really because my dad had it. I don't know what to feel.
That was me back in January when I got the news from my doctor. I became one of the nearly 300,000 other men in the country diagnosed with prostate cancer this year alone, the second leading cause of cancer death among men.
Okay, a quick anatomy lesson. The prostate is part of a man's reproductive system. It's a gland that sits right below a man's bladder. Doctors measure its health by testing its PSA levels, or prostate-specific antigen. A normal range is anywhere between 0 and 2.5 nanograms per milliliter. Mine was 10.5, so something wasn't right.
So here's the prostate right here.
I first met Dr. Patel 10 years ago when I did a story on his cutting-edge robotic surgery.
Does it make you nervous at all not being in the same room as the patient?
I never thought I'd be on the other side.
I'm looking through a camera that has 10x magnification in 3D vision, in depth perception.
He uses a machine called the Da Vinci robot. Patel has now performed more than 18,000 prostate surgeries. As a matter of fact, I was patient 18,001.
When you see that age that says, mid-40s, early 40s, what do you think?
We know it's a different discussion. They're always scared. The last thing they want to know is about prostate cancer. They have other issues going on, work, kids, young kids, and they're just like, why me? I think it's always a harder discussion because everything's on the line.
Dr. Patel and his colleagues authored this research paper where they tracked more than 11,000 patients who had prostate removal surgery. They found that they were treating younger patients with higher grade diseases, and the increasing number of high-risk patients has led to worse side effects after surgery.
Do you think there should be guidelines for younger men to get screened or get screened at a younger age?
So it makes no sense to me why you would not screen for the second leading cause of death in men of cancer when you screen for other things that are less morbid in many ways.
Those guidelines are created by the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force. Now, right now, they recommend men ages 55 to 69 years old discuss the possibility of testing their PSA levels with their doctor, especially if they have a family history. No testing is recommended for men over 70 or under the age of 55. We contacted the U.S. Preventative Services Task Force and asked them if they plan to update their recommendations. They responded, saying, "We are currently reviewing the latest evidence to update our recommendation. And while we can't speak to what we will find since we're in the middle of this process, the task force is deeply committed to understanding everything that the research tells us and using that to provide guidance that can help men live the longest, healthiest lives possible."
I want to thank you for helping me.
You're welcome. That's our job, and we enjoy it.
In Orlando, Eric Sandoval, Getting Results, News 6. I mean, I applaud Eric for sharing such a personal journey. And it started from that very first video when he takes that deep breath and he just sighs like, here we go.
You can tell bad news is coming.
Here we go. Yeah. But I think so many people will be helped by what he is reporting. And I've been getting Facebook messages from people every time this story airs. And Tom says, good show on the prostate cancer. I was tested for the first time about 2 years ago and turned out I had cancer. Went through the radiation treatment and rang the bell. My doctor tests me every 3 months. I'm 68 years old. I consistently test at 0.07.
Okay, and that's good. And as we've seen from Eric, that you can have this diagnosis and you can he's doing great, by the way, so we're glad to see that. Well, let's take a look at what's trending right now on Central Florida's #1 website. Man, this thing is good. ClickOrlando.com. Families across the state can now apply for vouchers to teach their young kids how to swim. The state's Water Smart Florida website is only open to kids 4 years old or younger now. To apply, you need to have proof of family income, proof of state residency, and the child's birthday.
Okay, here's the thing. I was looking at the story yesterday, and Florida is the #1 state where we have pools. I think there's something like 1.5 million swimming pools. The next state is Georgia, and it's like 190,000.
Yeah.
So if and more than 7,000 lakes. So there's water everywhere. So kids just need to know, and adults too, need to know how to swim.
As a
Don't be
father of
embarrassed.
3, I was
Yeah.
uncomfortable until my kids got to that age where they could swim, which was usually very early.
And here are some of the other top stories online right now. Amtrak announced daily service from Chicago to Florida starting in November, including a stop in Orlando. And the top locations to raise a family in Florida that aren't the big cities.
I haven't read that one yet. I'm interested to see what it says. All right, well, they're usually in a bathroom, but they're not something you would ever really want to touch.
It's a riddle.
Maybe you lay...
What is this?
This is a gross riddle. Coming up, we're going to show you how toilet seats are being used for safety when News 6 at 6:30 continues. Stick with us. We're back in just 2 minutes. What's red, white,
They're
and
usually
blue all
left
over?
up by men, but
Coming up in the morning, all eyes on the tropics. I'll have the overnight track of that system and the impacts it's set to bring to Central Florida. Plus a brand new fire station opening, how it will improve safety in one fast-growing area. We'll see you for News 6 Morning starting at 5 a.m.
WKMG is hitting the road again. We're heading to Pine Hills next. So if you live, work, or spend a lot of time in that community, let us know what issues need to be resolved and the hidden gems that make Pine Hills unique. You can take out your phone right now, scan the QR code on your screen. It will take you to clickorlando.com/hitstheroad. Just fill out the form. Let us know what you want us to look into, and we'd love to do it.
well, it is a toilet seat takeover off the Florida coast.
They're not there for a bathroom break, but rather to make sure boaters don't ground themselves in the shallow waters. It all came in the 50s off the coast of Plantation Key in Isla Mirada, a man named Vernon Lamp. You're going to be interesting if you have the name Vernon Lamp.
I like
He was in the need of a shortcut, decided to carve a path into a small channel and mark it with poles. The channel got a makeover when Hurricane Donna, one of Florida's strongest hurricanes to touch land, hit the Keys.
Yeah, in the aftermath, though, was a single toilet seat left hanging from one of those pole markers. So Lamp decided to get creative by bringing it home, painting it, and posting it back to his channel. In the decades to follow, the trend caught on as other locals decorated their own toilet seats and lined them up and down the channel, earning them the nickname, the toilet seat cut. I can tell you a lot of nicknames I would love to have, but that ain't one of them.
Do you think those are new or used toilet seats?
It doesn't. I feel like you're not going to buy a new one.
This is Florida.
Yeah.
They're used.
Yeah.
They're definitely.
But I think the
there have been
salt
some
maybe
cheeks on those
sanitizes it.
seats.
Let's put a lid on this story right now.
They're typically the cleanest
Good
part
job.
of your bathroom, though. It's like
The toilet
the
seat?
toilet seat.
How
Yeah,
about you
think
stick-
about it. What is your butt on? It's in your pants.
I don't want to think about it, Jonathan.
Check your toothbrush. That's
You better
Yeah.
stick to
What are we
meteorology.
saying now?
You're saying
it's science.
my toilet seat
is cleaner than your toothbrush.
is cleaner than my toothbrush?
But that's why you don't have your toilet lid up when
That's
you
right.
flush.
There you go,
to
the
get
jackpot.
the stuff floating. Yeah, you just.
Fecal matter comes all up.
Wow.
when you
Okay.
flush that.
Wow. How much
Shut
time
that
do we have
lid.
left, anybody?
What, is
Can
this
we get
show
a
Cut the
over
show.
yet?
Bars and tone. Just trying to add a little bit of science in there.
Fecal matter. All right. How about you add a little science into there, Jonathan?
Yeah, so we do have a tropical system coming away. It's going to be a major hurricane for the Big Bend. For us, tropical storm conditions are going to be likely once we get through Thursday, watching for the severe weather threat, the potential for a little bit of localized flooding. So watching that closely, guys.
Somebody at home brushing their teeth right now,
I just
really
heard
regretting
flushing
watching
noises.
this.
Thank you so much for staying through all of that and watching us at 6:30. Stream News 6 online anytime on our News 6 Plus Smart TV app.
We're going to take care of our plumbing issues. Remember, we break news at clickorlando.com. See you at 11 o'clock tonight. That was